Welcome to another episode of Behind the Bar podcast, brought to you by the coaches and clients of RT Fitness Durham, Sunderland and the Barbell Club. So this is our last one of the year. We'll be recording a few of them straight after the year and getting them all back out there. We're just taking a little bit time off over these times because obviously we are a gym unit transformation facility and we really need to dial it down to get all those brand new starters ready to kick off their 2023. So if you want to join the team, please click the link below. There's a few spaces left in our Durham and Sunderland units to start January the 9th on our 90-day total transformation, where you can drop up to £40, training 3 to 4 times per week, fully coached, all nutrition, everything's included with that. So just click that link below, answer a few questions, and then book in a call with either Sarah or Kirsty, and we'll call you, get you signed up, get cracking from there. So on today's episode, we have Dean. He started out on our barbell earlier this year. I mean, his transformation so far is absolutely unreal, but this isn't the end product, and this isn't the last time we're going to have him on the podcast. We sort of made a deal straight away that we're going to do 2, and he's going to hit his targets. So already, I think he's 76 pounds down. I think that's right by the time this airs. I know he's a little bit more now, even further since we're recording this. So he started 310 pounds and he's now down to 76. And the goal is to get him down to 200 by April. I think we even said 198 maybe. So yeah, the big sort of end result is going to be 112 pounds total down. So he's only done our barbell. He only trains 4 times per week, and he's just following the nutrition. He still enjoyed his life. He still had a drink here, there, and everywhere. And I mean, the man has truly changed his life and perspective around on health and fitness and what it actually takes to get to where he is now. So here's Dean's story. Enjoy it.
Right, Dean. So before I even ask who you are, this is going to be a 2-parter because I just want to put it in place just so that it definitely happens and that the goal is achieved then. Okay? So who is Dean? Work-life balance, what helps you train really as well?
Dean is husband to Kirsty,
Yeah.
daddy to Joshua, electrician.
Yeah.
Works sort of 7, half 3, but it can be 7 till 6, it can be 12 hours a day, it can be home, away. Just varies, to be honest. Training wise, like I say, it's always been I've always more like worked and then tried to train around it until I started here. And then now I've sort of flipped it to, now I'll if I can help you out, I will, but this comes first sort of thing.
Yeah.
Unless it's something that can't wait, you know what I mean? There is odd times where it's just like, you can't just drop the lads in the shit and go. So I'll stay then, but if it's just general overtime, it's like, well, no, I'm gone because I'm gone there.
Yeah. So you've made it sort of a priority.
Yeah, it's more,
in a way.
More a priority.
Right.
Because of where I got to, that's where I needed to sort of get away from.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, let's go back. Where's your fitness background or up until, I know we've spoke about this before, but just go over it again and stuff like that.
I mean, I've trained in and out. And like I say, I've got down to, like I say, my weight goes, I mean, I showed you a weight chart, it's like up, down, up, down, up, down. It almost depends of where I sort of am at that point in time. Like I say, when I started here, I was like 22 stone, 3 or 4, something like that. So it was like, and like I say, working abroad didn't help.
When you first started?
When I first started here.
Okay.
Like I say, as far as background goes, going back to like school days, like I say, I was never a PlayStation kid. You know, I was out and about. I was always like big, thick set, but I wasn't like what I was when I started here.
Yeah.
Like I say, I did that. I loved my bike. That was probably my main one. Judo, I liked that as well until I dislocated my shoulder. Then sort of never really got back into that.
Yeah.
Because every time it was just like, I tried to get into it a couple of times and then just had the fear of like, because I landed right in the point of my shoulder. It was like, nah. So I and then golf's one of my main hobbies. Like I say, I love a game of golf. Always walked. I've never used a buggy really. Weights wise, like I say, what I tend to find is it's always been in the past. It's like if I've needed to get to a point for something, like someone's wedding, my wedding, everything, I'll train and then As soon as that goes, back up again.
So an event specific.
So it's always, like in the past, it's always been event specific, not like now it's like my health specific.
Right.
Sort of thing.
How old are you?
43.
43. So is it basically, like how long have you been overweight then, or is it pretty much been all your adult life?
I pretty much all my adult life, I would say.
Right. So up until like this point, turning point now.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, the degrees of overweight have varied. I mean, like I say, when I was in my 20s, it was always like, it was always XL clothes, but you know what I mean, I'd never have any bother going and getting some, you know what I mean, just sort of fitting into it. So I've always been like big, thick set, but never, like I say, I would say like over the years, it's probably just crept on and on and on.
Yeah.
It's like I say, and I can lose it, but then normally it goes straight back on.
Because the event's gone.
Aye, as soon as whatever I was training for goes, then out the window.
Right. So, and when did you start the barbell?
25th of April.
Fucking, you know the exact date of this year as well. So that's, how many months is that? May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Coming up 8 months.
8 months.
It'll be we're coming up 8 months, isn't it? Because it's only the start. So coming up 8 months. So this is my big question. So why did you start, and like what was that moment, what you realised, like now I'm going to do something like for a long time and not just goal oriented specific?
It was sort of a bit like London buses. You wait ages for one and then 2 or 3 come together. The first one was like, I was travelling back to Holland. It was like the last trip when I was going back out for my last trip. And I was sat there on the plane, so sits down, puts my earphones on, went to fasten the seatbelt, and I'm like, can I get that fastened? So I'm like shuffling myself back in the seat, breathing in, trying to get the seatbelt fastened. I was like, that's no good, like. So I came back.
Did you, so I'm just going to stop you, did you have to get an extension then?
No, I just got it fastened and then sat there cutting us in half for an hour. I mean, luckily it was only an hour's hop there, an hour's hop after that.
Yeah.
So, came back, got COVID, because I'd already like sort of emailed Sarah to start here. Because Kirsty obviously does it at Sunderland. Looking at the options of like carnage or barbell, and I looked at carnage and thought, that's not for me, like. And then looked at the barbell one. And then it's just like, I mean, I just had COVID, so like I run around after the bend, I was like, you know what I mean, can I catch him? And then and then I went to the doctors for the 40+ checkup. Because the centre is like, and then COVID.
I'm close.
Then COVID rocked up, so then they stopped doing them. So So then they just sent for you again after COVID. It's like, well, I'm working away now, so you'll have to wait till I come back. So I went.
Right.
So they did the blood tests, blood pressure was fine. Obviously they did your weight, and they're like, well, that didn't need anyone to tell us I need to lose weight. But then they did your blood sugar and your cholesterol, and there was said you're pre-diabetic with your blood sugar levels, and your cholesterol's way too high. Right. So that was obviously the one where it's like, well, I've got a wife and child to consider as well. So it's like things need to change. So I went back for the 6-month checkup last week, and my blood sugars and my cholesterol's back to normal now. And said you've lost 23% of your body weight since you were here last. And that was the week I started here. I went the week I started here.
Right, okay.
So I started here on the Monday and I went there on the Thursday or the Friday.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty much the start.
You must have walked in though, full of DOMs as well, like aching as fuck.
I walked in, can you lift your arm up? Well, not really. Like that, try to lift your arm up.
Jesus, so like obviously the seatbelt, but then, so it's been the health scare?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I always think there's always a point with someone, it's like, I mean, a few people have said to me, like, since you've done it, oh, well, it must be physically tough, and it's like, it's not the physical toughness that's the hard part, it's the mental bit.
Right.
I mean, physically coming here, yeah, for an hour it's hard work, because, like I say, he pushes you no end, and even when you tell him it's too heavy, he doesn't listen, just puts more weights on.
Yeah.
So, it's like, but that's not the hard part. The hard part's like, when you're sitting there, you're knackered, and it's like, I didn't really want a gun, but it's like, no, well, you've got a gun.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there in the house, and you're like, well, shall I just eat that bar of chocolate? Well, no, because you've just trained your ass off all week. What's the point in doing that? When you don't really want it, you're not really hungry, you just need to, like, it's sort of like changing the mentality of like, well, no, why put all that effort in, then just sit there and eat, or sit there and drink. So like I say, I mean, I do have a drink, and but I don't like, I've like knocking on the head in the house pretty much, unless we have people around, or I really, really fancy one, then but most of the time, if I go out, I'll go out and enjoy myself, and then back on it the next day. Where previously it's been like, if I was to go out on a Friday night, that'd be the Saturday and the Sunday kiboshed as well, and then start again Monday.
Yeah.
And then like, if I was to have a bad day during the week, if that bad day was to come on a Wednesday, that'd be the rest of the week knackered as well. Just like, It's just habits you fall into. It's like, I was talking about it with Kirsty yesterday. It's like, you can fall into good habits as easily as you can fall into bad ones as well. I mean, like last night, got finished work, like literally came in here, in my work gear, and it's just like, the lads from work would been grafting all day, and he's like, you're not going to the gym, I am. I was like, I'm in the rut now of like, that's what I do. I go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's like you fall into, yes, you fall into bad habits, but you can fall into good habits as well, and it's just keep yourself in it.
I think one of the things is though, you must be enjoying that good habit.
It does. It's the way it makes you feel as well. It's like, I mean, like I say, when I started here, it was like I couldn't get close to fitters. I didn't feel comfortable, in clothes going out. It's like I didn't want to. Like, you know what I mean? I'd go clothes shopping and be like, well, and then I'd just trundle back in an hour and a half later in a mood with myself because I couldn't find anything. That's the shop's fault. Well, no, it's not. It's yours.
I mean, listening to you now, you're totally self-aware of it all, and even those mental battles, like where you're like, should I have this shuttle bar, I go to the gym, should I have it? But you're aware of it, and honestly, like, I mean, I know you've only been here just this year, but most people fall to the other side.
It's one of them though. It's like you've always got a choice, haven't you? You can go one way or the other, and it's like, and that's the point of like, I think everyone who changes and stays changed like on a long-term basis, they've got like a trigger point, and it's like if you haven't got the trigger point, you'll fall backwards. All the time, because it's like, well, I'm doing this, but I don't really need to. And it's like, if you've got a point where you think you need to, that's your trigger point. That's what I think. I think there's always got to be like for someone to make a sustained change for long periods, there's got to be a trigger that sends you there. You don't just wake up one morning and think, you know where it is, I'm going to lose loads of weight and get myself in shape. I just don't think that happens. Or saying that, it never has for me anyway.
But it has?
But I had the trigger though, didn't it? I didn't wake up one morning thinking of it of my own accord, like, well, tell them to do it this week, I'm just going to go and lose. I think most people need a trigger point of where like something either shocks them or scares them into doing it.
Yeah.
Or they get to a point where they think, if I keep going like this, something is going to shock us into doing it. I think there's a steady scale of people, and then they'll get to a point and they'll think, right. But I think there's always that point with everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just whatever that point is.
It took me down until he was 60 to get to that point.
It does. I mean, like
he's figured it out.
I mean, I look back now and think, well, you know what I mean, I should have done this 20 years ago, but hey-ho, you can't turn the clock back.
It wasn't there, was it?
No. Well, you could have done something, you know what I mean, there would have been, you didn't have to eat kebabs and go out and drink every night. But, I mean, working away as well, like, it takes a lot of dedication when you work away.
Yeah.
If you're in the rut. I mean, like I say, I was in London a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, I was good as gold Monday to Thursday, saved up the calories, and then, like I say, I went out Saturday.
Yeah.
When we were off, we're off Saturday afternoon, Sunday, so I went out on the Saturday. And it was like, but I like purposely saved them calories up during the week. You know what I mean? I saved like 250 calories each day.
Yeah.
To go out on the Saturday.
I didn't there.
As before, I would have just turned around and went, out whatever you need.
Right.
We're just
when you're working away.
We're only here for a week. We'll just sat this week. That would have been my previous mindset years ago. We're just like, well, I'm only away a week, so I'll just sack this week off and treat it as a holiday. But you can't do that because then you'll drop back into the bad habits again.
Is it? I mean, would you say some of the people who you work with, do they still do that?
Yeah, but I mean, it depends where you are, isn't it? Like
right.
in your health journey, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I was at the point where I had to lose weight and I had to make changes. Where the lad I was away with, Stevie, he doesn't. You know what I mean? He's a bloke who's older than me. Like I say, he's fit. Stevie's fit enough. He just
right.
So
he can do.
He can go out and have some people put weight on, you know what I mean? It's some people just wait on just looking at food, can't they?
But I mean, it comes down to movement as well, which you've obviously learned throughout that. So, what weight did you start at?
310 pounds.
What weight are you now?
233.
So what does that work out to be? So
76.
76 pounds so far in just less than 8 months. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Not bad, is it?
Not bad at all. Well, fucking it. Right, what's your clothes sizes then? Gone down like that? That must be mad as well.
Well, like I say, I mean, that was 2XL clothes minimum.
Yeah.
And sometimes you couldn't even get them to fit you.
Right.
Depending on what brand it is. Jeans wise, like I say, I'm always a one for creatures of habit when it comes to jeans. So I've always worn Levi jeans.
Right.
So when I started here, I was in 44s. Now I'm in 34s.
Fucking hell, man. That's fucking just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, like, yeah. How do you feel when you look in the mirror?
You start to see progress. Like I was saying to Luke the other week, it was like it's mainly been like over the past couple of months where you've seen like, yeah, you can see the weight going down, you can see it's still getting smaller, but you can see like start to see more definition now.
Right.
So. But it's like that. But I mean, it's when you look at the side by side photos, isn't it? When you look at when I looked at like the last photos I posted and I put them side by side, the ones I gave you and then the one I gave you when you started, and you're like.
Crazy.
Just don't want to go back there.
No. I like from obviously coaching thousands of people over the years, and you know when some people can, and where you're going to stick it out, and you're one of them. Like you've went past that, because normally people lose 2 stone, put a stone back on. They'll come back, they'll lose another 1.5 stones, but then they're constantly, and then they'll go back up a bit and then back down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got
I think it's one of them. It's like if like, I mean, like I say, I mentioned earlier on about like you can't get close to fit you, but I mean, if that was the only motivation, then you probably would have chucked it in by now. Because like now I can go to any shop and buy something.
Because you could just buy bigger clothes.
Well, no, but I can go to any shop and buy a decent size of clothes now. So that you at this point you probably think jack it in, but it's like now there's more important matters now than just being able to go to the shop and buy clothes off the peg.
Yeah. But it's a good I mean, like we talked the other week, and you threw all your old clothes.
Yeah, because that was the thing before. I mean, I've always had like 3 sets of clothes, so it's like top, middle, and bottom. So it's like clothes I bought because I went through a habit of like I lost quite a bit of weight for our wedding, and then it was like I still had a bit to lose, and it was like I'd buy something if I liked the look of it, and I'll get into that. Never did though, because obviously once the wedding had gone, I just spiraled back upwards.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I've got clothes in the wardrobe which I've never wore.
Right. What are too small for you? Too small for you now still, or the ones that are too big for you now?
No, they're probably fit as now. Just.
Right. Okay.
Just because I said to him, that's one of the targets. I had a pair of trousers in the wardrobe that I need to be in by Christmas.
Right. Okay.
And to be honest, they're not too big, but I'd have to put a belt on.
Oh, would you? So you've passed that.
Aye, but to be honest, they're not massively too big. They're just a bit.
Right, mint. So why would you say out of all, obviously you've done like a few things, jumping in and out over there, done this or diet and stuff like that. Why would you say the barbell programs help you stick it out for this long and to get obviously the results? I
mean, I think as well, it's like the fact that you train in the group.
Right.
Obviously, you train with the same person trains you all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke's superb.
Right.
Not just because he stood over there, but you know what I mean. It's just like he sort of knows. Like you'll turn around and say, "I can't lift that," and he'll just laugh at you as if to say, "Well, you're gonna."
Yeah.
And then like he did it the other day with skull crushers when he put like 40 kilos on. It was like, Luke, I'll not be able to do that. And then you admitted defeat, didn't you? When I nearly dropped it on my forehead, then he's like, maybe, and then he dropped it back down. But on the whole, he'll just push you to the point of where he knows you can go.
Right.
And it's like, but like you train the group mentality, so it's like, I mean, our group are mint when they're here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they like push you on as well. But then I think the nutritional side, when you've got someone, when you put the My Fitness Pal thing in every week, you've got someone to account to, and you. Not going to get a bollocking because I mean, let's face it, it's up to you whether you do it or not. But it's just like, it sort of keeps you on track knowing that you've got someone, you're accountable to someone at the end of every week.
Mint. The trouble is with that though, they've still got to submit it, because what we obviously still find with people is they don't. But
then you're only cheating yourself if you don't submit it, aren't you?
Well, exactly.
I mean, you're in essence paying for a service, aren't you? And if you're not submitting it, then you're just like, what's the point?
Exactly.
I mean, like I say, I'll put it in sometimes and it's way over, but most of the time it's like, if I've like stayed the same weight. I mean, I've only went up twice in the time since I've started here.
Right.
The twice when I've had a week off. We've been away places, but I just find, like you say, you put it in. It's like, so then you wake up the next morning after you've been out for a night out, and you've like, right, 4,000 calories, right? So today needs to be 10,000 excess steps. Stick within the calories for the next few days, and then you'll get whatever you've put on that night off.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's sort of like, it's like a reminder to you to, right, you've had your fun, now knuckle back down again.
But that's dedicated. Like I totally applaud you for it, because some people just still can't get into that habit again of tracking. No matter, even if they've done shit, they'd rather not put it in. But it's like, if people like you can get into the mindset of actually fucking just putting it in and like admitting, like, this is my accountability.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't put it in the other Saturday. I mean, I'd said to Sarah, I was like, I didn't track the other Saturday because I like by the time we went out and had a few pints, and then it was like I couldn't even remember what I drank and what I did. So it was like I just said, well, I haven't tracked it. I said, but it won't have been good.
Yeah.
But then the Sunday was tracked, the Friday was tracked, so it was only sort of one day I'd missed out. So, but I knew.
But you said to Sarah that as well.
But I knew what I could have probably took a fly and guessed at what it was, and it would have been like probably double me calorie intake for the day. But it's like, I don't think you'd miss out the fun bit. You know what I mean? You've got to, for all it's like, I mean, yes, you're going to want the shred because you're just committing to that, and you're committing to that at a point in time where it's probably going to suit you. So to do it, but like, it's just normal day-to-day life. If you're going to have a blowout, but you've just got to think, well, you've worked the past like 2 or 3 weeks without a blowout, so you've made good progress. You have a one night blowout, it's not going to do you that much harm in essence, as long as you're back on it straight away. It's when that day turns into a week.
Yeah.
That's when you start to fall out the habits and fall backwards.
I mean, I'd actually say people should do it, in a sense. No, people should have it, because a blowout isn't just a blowout for fuck me diet and all the rest of it. A blowout is...
It's a mental reset as well, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's a mental reset to have fun with people.
Yeah.
And like, if you're like trying to diet down hard all the time, year round, and like, what kind of life is that in a way? Like, without having that bit fun, because I'm sure you're trying to get in shape so that you can go to these places and look good, feel good, but still enjoy it and not have a...
It's one of them, like I say, I mean, like I say all the time I've been here, it's like, I've never sort of, if I had something on, I've like, well, no, I'm not gone. I've still went, but it's just like, just need to be like mindful of what happens the day after. Like the RT night out in August, it was like, I was out on the Sunday for a walk. I was out the Sunday, did 12 mile walk.
Right.
I mean, the pace wasn't very good, but when I did it, it was just like, but it was just like, because I knew I'd went my ends that day, and it was like, well, just get yourself back on track.
Yeah.
So get yourself back in the habit. And I'm sort of, that's my mindset for like Christmas time. So like the nights out I've got planned, I'll go, and then like after Christmas, like me and Kirsty, we're gonna go. I think we're gonna go away with the 28th, and then like I'll sort of get myself back into my tracking phase then.
Yeah.
Ready for the second.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I'll have like them 3 days to like stock, like in essence going from like 4,000 calories back down to probably 2.
But it happens. And why wouldn't you want to?
You've got to, haven't you? Or you just,
of course,
you'll go mad if you or you'll chuck it in, because if you'll get sick if you just think there's no like goal to it. You know, if you're just endlessly trying to lose weight, like what I have this year, it's like if you don't have the odd bit of fun, it'll wear you down.
Yep. 100% agree. I know obviously we're not the biggest of alcohol drinkers between us. I mean, fucking
well,
him.
not him.
But like the thing, me and Sarah, if we ever want to go out, we'll go out.
Yeah.
And like we never deem it as bad or anything like that. Like Christmas party, like I'll have a few, do you know what I mean? I've got my 5 drink limit, but that's because I'm a tit. But we'll probably just get a curry on the way home, 100%.
Yeah.
And like I'll enjoy fucking Christmas Day to the full. And all around, like curries and stuff like that. So one of the next question was going to be, how's Coach Luke? But I think answered that one.
I say that it's just, he's quite like you know, when you look at the other coaches, like you know when you look on the Facebook page of like, sorry I'm not going to make it in today, I'm stuck at work, and then you'll have like Josh will reply with, oh no worries, hope you can make it in tomorrow. like when I put in, I might not make it tomorrow. You better fucking be in.
Yeah.
But he's just like, he's sound.
Right.
Like I say, he's absolutely brilliant coach-wise. Like I say, very knowledgeable. I mean, he might not act it at times, but
yeah. He can make a chair out of anything.
Oh,
He's very good at that one.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like I say, he'll push you to your limits, and he sort of knows where your limits are. He knows where your limits are better than you know where they are.
Right.
Because you're like, well, I'll not be able to lift that. Soon find out, won't I?
Which is good. The thing is, I mean, obviously credit to Luke, like he can see that you can do more. Like I've seen some of the weights you chuck about, and for the short time what you've been here, you've probably surpassed most. Like within that
mass moves weight, though, don't
it? Mass moves mass. That's the thing, it does. But to, like where you were inclining, he chucked the 35s at you, didn't he?
Yeah.
The other day, and it's like you did them. Like, and they were hard, but you did them. That's the thing. So yeah, happy days with that. So I mean, next goal actually. What's the next goal? Your current weight is now 232. Did you say that?
233. So I'm pretty much where I need to be for shred wise. So
because we've already set your goal.
Yeah. I'm a couple of pound here or there away.
But it's 200, isn't it?
Well, would it say it wasn't one? Did we say 198?
198.
When we did it the other day. I think it was 19. I think it was 198. So that was 14. Was that? I think it was 14.4, wasn't it? That was what came out when you. Yeah.
Oh, and that will be going. So by the way, this will be the next podcast. So going from 3 or what? Did you say
310?
310 down to 198 by when's the photos? Is it just mid-April or something like that?
It's the last weekend in April, so last weekend in March, isn't it? 5th, 6th, whatever.
So that's the goal for then.
So it's 11 months from when I started.
Fucking hell, man. Excellent. So, a little bit of a different change in the question for the last one, what I normally say, but like for someone of your, like say, initial size of what you were, yeah, what advice would you give to them to get started and continue past the hurdles in a way?
It's a curveball.
In it? You've watched all the podcasts. I had this written down.
I think it's a case of like you need to get your head in the right place to get started initially, and then you've got to acknowledge that it'll be a bumpy road. You know what I mean? If you've got, I mean, like I say, when I started, I had like 8 stone to lose, so it's not like someone who's got like 30 pounds to lose and just like come in and say it's going to be a bumpy road because it's going to take a while, but when the bumps in the road come, they need to be as small as possible. So like what I was saying earlier on, it's like don't let a bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month.
Yeah.
You've just got to have you've got to have your fun as well, but you've got to then get straight back on it, food wise, and try not to dip the sessions as well. Because the hardest part when I mean, like I say, I was knackered when I first came, so it was like you come here, so I'd get in from work. Then I'd have to have like half an hour's nap on the couch before I came here.
Right.
Just, you know what I mean, to get you through the first like 3-4 weeks, and then it starts to get easier. But it's like if you then chuck a month off, you're gonna be pretty much back to square one. And then you're gonna have the same battles again. And what will happen then is what's happened with me previously is like you don't remember the progress you've made. You remember how hard it was initially.
Right.
So then don't get to that stage of how hard it was initially.
Right.
It's like I think if you can get past the first 6 weeks, if you keep at it, yes, you'll have bumps. Like you say, you'll have bumps up and downs. Like you say, you'll go for a night out, a weekend away, and you might put a bit of weight on. But like I say, for me, don't worry about it. Just like jump back on the wagon, but don't go back to where you were.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, like I say, you'll remember how hard it was at the start, not the progress you made.
That's a fucking mint analogy, actually. I like that. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Squire.
No worries.
I'm looking forward to the next one.